Well, hello there, all the absolutely magnificent people, and welcome back to another episode of An Ecologist Plays, where we talk about nature while playing games. My name is Will, I'm an ecologist by training, and we are back in Coral Island, and we will be having a look at, oh wow, okay, all the little creatures are sleepy. Why are you sleepy outside here, the little chickens? Well guys, this is Will from the future, just quickly popping in to say that something went wrong with this recording, and for some reason my OBS made my recording screen bigger than it could actually record, so a section of the game screen was unfortunately cut off. So yeah, if it looks a little bit big and zoomed in, that is OBS's fault. Unfortunately, I did not see this until I started editing the video. Anyway, hope you still enjoy the episode, and hopefully by the next episode I will have fixed everything. Alright, back to the video. There's a problem here in the coop, and that is that our Amanita chicken over here is actually sick, so we'll have to go and grab some medicine, and then we are going to head on over to a festival because it is the beach cleanup today. Oh, unfortunately the ranch is closed on a Saturday. Wow, that is unfortunate. Poor little Amanita must please just hang on, we'll get her better soon. Okay, so now we're here in the port and we're just heading over to the beach now. It's time to do the beach cleanup, which is of course a very important endeavor. It's incredibly important to remove the rubbish that's on the beach here so that it doesn't get pulled back into the ocean and continue polluting the environment. So anything that gets washed up on the shore, we need to pick up, and that is why the beach cleanup here is a very important endeavor. Of course, it's not just work. We are also here to have a bit of fun, so we're going to take part in the tug of war and win it, actually. Try to do a bit of swimming and basically just fall flat on our faces. At least we got third place. We can also buy some gold kelp here. Now, I have gotten gold kelp. I've gotten gold kelp in the marine area, so I'm not going to buy any gold kelp here, but we could if we had to. We could have bought gold kelp here. Also, recycling machine and some interesting little thingies over here. And then let's clean up the beach here. Now the thing is that the trash that we are collecting here would be washed out on the shore by currents that carry all this rubbish around. Of course, the rubbish that ends up in the ocean comes from urban areas, gets washed into rivers, and that of course then results in it being dumped in the ocean, where it can then make its way all around the world. Now scientists from South Korea have recently found microplastics even in organisms living in deep sea vents, deep down in the ocean. So yeah, the plastic that makes its way in the rivers eventually ends up in the ocean and will travel to even the remotest of places underwater. Now I have been involved in a few beach cleanup sessions, and one of the things that we tried to do at one point were cleaning nurdles that washed up on the shore. Those are little tiny little plastic beads that get used in the production of plastics, and yeah, they are really a pain to try and remove because you need to sift through the sand just to eventually get a little handful of things that you can get rid of. And now, let's just go diving, because as you can see, we are here past the Merfolk Kingdom, and this is the area where we encounter for the first time, finally, the gold kelp. And oh, we've got a very interesting little jellyfish right over here. Come on. That is the cauliflower jellyfish. My word, what a funky looking little Nidarian. So that little jelly we just caught here, the cauliflower jellyfish here, sometimes also just called the cauliflower jelly, it's interestingly enough one of the most venomous jellyfish species on Earth. But they're not harmful to humans because it seems like the venom doesn't really have an effect on us as humans, which is very interesting to me, but it's deadly to their prey. Now, they don't have a long lifespan. Adults live for about 3 to 6 months, and as with all jellyfish, they have a very weird life cycle, to me at least, where the eggs and the sperm meet in the ocean and they then form a little larva that attaches onto the rocks and then undergoes asexual reproduction, forming a whole bunch of little babies. And initially that little thing that actually does the asexual reproduction, that kind of resembles more a sea anemone than anything else. And then from there it buds off and forms a whole bunch of little baby jellyfish, which then turn into these big jellyfish. And they're quite big, about 60 centimeters in diameter, so about 24 inches, the bell of this jellyfish from one side to the other diameter. And they call the cauliflower jellyfish because the bell, this top part over here, has got a weird warty growths on it, kind of resembling cauliflower. Now, they're also bioluminescent, and the weird thing is we just caught it at night in deep water. But they're supposed to actually, at this time of day, they're supposed to be in shallow waters. They're really only, and there's some bioluminescent jellyfish swimming around as well, they're really in the deeper water in the daytime, and then at night they come closer to the surface, which is of course where they would be feeding on plankton and all kinds of little smaller things that are present within the shallower waters. And here we go, we have got some gold kelp, which is of course very, very important. We are going to be using that to make new sprinklers for our garden. As we're heading into autumn now, we definitely need to set up some new sprinklers and organize our farmlands a bit more. And as you can see here, for the second sprinklers here, we need a bit of scrap, some silver kelp, and very importantly, some gold kelp. Okay, let's quickly sleep and make it the next day. It is raining, which is marvelous. It is also the last day of summer, which means that we need to harvest all the crops we can, and then we need to cut down everything that is a longer lived plant, like the corn over here, which would have carried fruit for us tomorrow, and all those things that you can harvest fruit and vegetables from more than just once. Because as you may remember, I have got the seed saver perk, and it only counts if I harvest or destroy a plant like I did just there, and I got some corn seeds. So just naturally letting them end their life cycle at the end of the season is not going to give me any seeds. So yeah, we've got to chop them out to potentially get some seeds back. And now, of course, this also means we need to destroy all these things that we have got, the scarecrows and the sprinklers, or level 1 sprinklers, which are really not that useful anymore. And then we're just going to expand our field a bit. And there we go, one massive scarecrow to keep birds out of our fields. And well, there we go. I see we have gotten some medicine, so that's great. It seems our animals might get sick if it's too hot or too cold, or if they're not looked after properly. Now, our chicken was looked after properly, but yeah, sometimes, they will just get sick. And when that happens, medicine is your best friend, and you can pick up some from the ranch or the clinic. Okay, so we could have gone to the clinic to actually get some medicine for our chicken. Yeah, there we go. May as well just grab that and go give it to Amanita, our little chicken here that is not feeling too hot. And now we're just going to quickly check this new sprinkler of ours. How many do we need in order to actually fill this field of ours? That's going to be 1, 2, 4. Oh, that's not too bad. There we go. Now we're ready for the next season. What we're actually going to do is we're going to get rid of this ripped up ground over here. We're actually going to restore this and try and make it a little bit more beautiful. And the way we're going to do that is by actually planting more grasses and maybe even a tree over here. But first we're going to go donate a few things. I have got the giraffe seahorse here, which is really, really cool looking. I have a blue crab over here, sexy shrimp, which we are going to go and offer rather than donate, the harpalus beetle, as well as the pus moth, which we are going to donate. Now let's quickly chat about the giraffe seahorse here, which is Hippocampus camelopardalis. Camelopardalis referring to, well, camel horse, which is a giraffe, and Hippocampus being the genus name for a lot of the seahorses. So they, of course, belong to the Synathidae family, which includes the seahorses, the pipefishes, the sea dragons, we chatted about previously as well. And in all those species, the males are the ones that are brooding the babies, where the females, once the eggs have been fertilized, she will deposit it in a pouch in the male's belly over there, and then he will incubate the eggs. And then once those little eggs hatch, he will have contractions, basically give birth to a whole bunch of little babies. So yeah, that is quite cool and interesting and strange and wonderful. Anyway, so really, really cool creatures. They've got a very strange anatomy, which I'm sure we will chat about at some point. But this little one we are going to put away in the museum. They are found in Africa, so from South Africa up to possibly Kenya. They've got dark spots all over their body, which is of course where they get their name from. And even on the little horn at the top there, they will have a little black dot. And they unfortunately are threatened by a whole bunch of major problems. For example, development in the areas where they occur, destruction of the seagrass beds where they occur, accidental bycatch when people are trawling for prawns and all kinds of other creatures. They will catch seahorses like the giraffe seahorse as well. And then unfortunately also the seahorses are collected illegally as either curios, where they're dried out and then sold as curios, and I would never buy one of those, but yeah, people do that, or used in traditional medicine, where they also are dried and then ground down into a paste and used. So yeah, unfortunately, they are threatened, and they are also now in the CITES list, which is the Convention on the International Trade of Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora, which focuses on the movement of animals and plants and their parts around the world if they are threatened through international trade. Right, so we are going to just donate them, and hopefully this is a pregnant male and he can actually birth a whole bunch of babies in the museum here. We're also going to donate the blue crab here, not the sexy shrimp, that one will be offered, the harpalus beetle, the pus moth, and the cauliflower jellyfish. All of these will be donated. And we got a dragon fruit seedling there for our troubles. And we'll also now offer the sexy shrimp here, which means we just need the sunflower sea star, and then we've got this altar done. As mentioned, I want to actually restore this little area over here, so we are going to just head on over to John's. And we're just going to grab some grass starter over here. And you know what, just to be prepared for what is to come, we're also going to grab a whole bunch of fertilizer here. Now, one thing I am going to do is I'm just going to place a row of chests down over here. And it may look like I'm actually making a little footpath. I am not. I'm just going to be placing my chests down over here. And then all of this we will restore with, maybe I'll put in some trees as well. I should have some seeds. There we go. And there we go. A few seeds planted. And you know what? I'm just going to drop down a whole bunch of grasses as well. And there we go, already looking much more lush, and now it's just a case of me removing these chests over here and shifting them over to over here, and then we are ready for the next season. But to do that, I need more stone. So we're just going to go into one of these old mines here, and you know what, I'm just going to be whacking a bunch of stones. And that is just so I can make these stone chests here, so it'll take a while, but I'll see you in a moment. And you know what, while we are here, we may as well try to catch something with our fishing rod. So hopefully we don't just catch a bunch of trash here. Hopefully we actually do get a little fishy. Yes, we have actually gotten a fishy. Wonderful. Now, technically, the fish we should be catching in these caverns would be blind, because there's no use for eyesight in these caverns that we technically are in now. But I don't think we're going to catch a blind fish now. No, in fact, we have just caught a normal tilapia. Of course, tilapia, very important food fish, which is grown in aquaculture for food. But I'm sure we'll chat about that when we actually start our own little fish farm. And well, we even caught a blue tang, which is a marine species, yet we have somehow caught it here. Now that means that it's probably a brackish environment connected to the ocean, not just an underground cavern and a freshwater pool in an underground cavern. So there we go. Of course, there's a bit of trash as well. I figured there would be. We're not so lucky that we don't get trash. I think this is probably also trash again. Let's see. No, it's actually a little fishy. But yeah, a lot of fish in underground caverns are actually completely blind. They don't use energy to develop good eyesight, so over the eons they have lost their eyes, or at least their proper eyesight, because why spend energy developing eyes and, trying to have eyesight if it's going to be pointless because it's too dark to see anything in any case. And that's something you see in a lot of cave-dwelling organisms, not just fish. Also, cave-dwelling invertebrates, they tend to be basically blind. Also, they tend to be light in color. They almost seem like they have albinism due to there being no real function in having some coloration while you are actually in the dark. But we haven't seen any of that, in fact, here. We, have found quite a bit of trash, though. Anyway, I have decided, you know what, I may as well use a bit of dynamite over here, because that is going to make life a little bit easier. Right, 3 chests made. I also got a yucca moth, which is an interesting one we also need to offer as well as donate and ship. So we'll get back to the yucca moth in a moment before we go and offer it. Let's just first place these chests down, and we'll place it down as seeds, and then the seasonal crops we harvest, and the flowers, the seasonal flowers we harvest. And wow, they really blend in with the stone path here. I should probably have made some wooden paths rather than, stone paths, but oh well. So this yucca moth that we've got over here, as we're going to make our way over to the lake to actually go and offer it, and I'm going to run there because, you know what, we need to chat about the yucca moth. And the yucca moth is called the yucca moth, not because it's yucky, but because it is actually associated with the yucca plant. And it has a very interesting and very close relationship with that plant, where the yucca moths will lay their eggs in the yucca plant in the flowers, and the caterpillars of the yucca moth will then actually eat the flowers of the yucca plant. Now you may think, okay, well, that sounds bad for the plant, but the thing is, it is mutualism. Both parties benefit there because they also get pollen stuck to them. Ooh, that's an awesome little caterpillar. We have to catch this one. This looks like a horned devil here. Hickory horned devil. Hickory horned devil indeed. Ah, marvelous. We need to still go donate this species. It's a new one for us. May as well go and do that after this. So anyway, they then get pollen stuck on them, and as they're crawling around, they pollinate some of the flowers there. So yes, the plant sacrifices some of its flowers to the yucca moth, but they also will be pollinated in the process. The larvae of the moth, the caterpillars here, they get food and the plant gets pollinated. And that is really, really cool. And it is such a close relationship that you basically cannot have the one without the other. And that to me is just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Okay, hickory horned devil, you are going to get a new home here in the little insectarium, as I call it, right over here. And I am going to turn it into tomorrow, which will bring about the next season. And interesting to note that the most commonly shipped item was in fact mayonnaise, whereas the most expensive item that we shipped was melon jam, the osmium quality melon jam. And here we go, the first day of autumn/fall. And it seems Bobby is challenging us to the harvest festival. So we are going to have to try and kick his butt. And to try and help us, I'm going to save the melon jam over here and use that in the harvest festival. I did just notice I've got blue mussel over here, as well as sexy shrimp and green sea urchin. Now the sea urchin as well as the blue mussel we need to go and offer, whereas the sexy shrimp we need to go and just donate at the museum. So we'll go and do that now. Well, after saying hello to our chickens, grabbing their eggs, and opening up for them. Okay, here we go. Sexy shrimp into the museum. And the green sea urchin and blue mussel here offered to the goddess. We just need the king's scallop. I just need to go figure out where to find the king's scallop. And then ocean loot will also be done, which just leaves us with the fall and the winter seasons. So let's just have a look here. We need to collect some black trumpets. We need to collect some figs. We need to get orchids, which we can grow. We need to get pumpkin, which we can grow. And bronze quality rice, which we can grow. So we need to look for black trumpet mushrooms as well as figs that we can pick up from the ground somewhere. So we should be able to collect on the ground. Hopefully we will find those nice and soon so we don't forget to actually harvest them. Now I couldn't find any of those yet, so we'll have to keep our eyes peeled. So for now I'm going to head on over to Sam's shop again. And now I'm going to buy the autumn seeds. Now let's just have a look here. In terms of the calendar, when is the festival? It's in 14 days. So let's say up until 13 days. So let's say that we want to harvest everything we can use in the harvest festival by the 13th. That will give us 12 days from now. Anything that takes longer than 12 days to grow will be quite useless for those purposes. We're going to grab a whole bunch of orchid seeds here. You know what? 4 cranberries will be enough. We're going to grab a bunch of rice, quite a bit of amaranth here, some basil, some beets, some eggplants, sweet potato, and of course, very importantly, some pumpkin. That's actually too many because they do regrow, and it's probably not going to be ready by the time of the harvest festival. Oh well, we're going to try. We're going to try our best. And you know what? This is just marvelous. This is a small little plot. This is all we need for now. I don't think we need more than this. And we don't even have to worry about watering it anymore. I'm just first going to be planting all the things that we can harvest more than once. Especially all the pumpkins. Because I do want to harvest quite a few pumpkins. The thing is that when you're growing pumpkins, oh man, I have tried growing pumpkins so many times, or we have tried growing pumpkins so many times, but we always get the horrible cucumber fruit fly that just comes and rains on our parade. Really horrible. Like, I know they all have their place, but man, oh man, sometimes I do battle to just see the place of that horrible little fruit fly, because every year they will come and lay their eggs in our wonderful little butternut squashes. And we have not really been able to harvest any proper butternut squashes from our garden, which, you know, that's really, really sad. So anyway, we are going to now have a bit of variety here in our vegetable garden because we're going to be planting some orchids. Oh man, we do love orchids. Orchids really are such specialized flowers. They very often have only 1 or 2 pollinators that can actually visit their flowers and pollinate them. So really specialist plants. And they're just such beautiful flowers. I mean, who doesn't love orchids? They're just absolutely gorgeous. And there we go. A nice technicolored field of seeds. And now it is just a case of putting down all the fertilizer. And there we go. A nice field of very diverse crops. And now it's just a matter of waiting. Ooh, look at that. We got a fig. So the fig is really an interesting fruit because it's actually not just a fruit. It's actually a flower. And a compound flower at that. We've got a Rafflesia flower as well, speaking of flowers. So the fig fruit is actually a compound flower that has a whole bunch of little flowers on the inside. And I'm sure you have heard about the fig wasps living within the fig. A whole bunch of little teeny tiny little wasps live inside there. And they are completely dependent on the fig. And I think next time we'll actually chat a little bit more about them because they are dependent on the fig and the fig is dependent on them for pollination. At least wild figs are. Domestic figs, that is an entirely different story altogether. Let's see, we've got an interesting caterpillar walking around here. What are you? A striped garden caterpillar, a new species for us that we will go and donate as well. I'll probably do that off screen. But yeah, we definitely need to chat about the figs because figs are complicated and weird and wonderful, and isn't that what this channel is all about? But I also think that is where we are going to call it a day for now, everybody. I've got to go to bed and it has been a very long day. So I hope you all have a wonderful week further and that you enjoyed our little gaming session now. If you have any questions or comments, please pop them down in the comments below. And until next time, stay safe, everybody. We'll see you all soon. Cheers.